How's it going, everybody, and welcome back. My name's Jeremy. Today, once again, I'm going to be working on the Nevada State Wrangler of Sisters on the Fly, sister number 5378, Lynn, and her 2017 Gulfstream vintage cruiser. And today, in this video, I'm going to be taking her queen bed here, and I'm going to be chopping it in half and making two twin beds out of it. This should be fun. So underneath here, we have the water tank. I'm gonna go ahead and move the water tank over closer to the wall there. I'm gonna go ahead, and the spare tire is down here. We're gonna leave the spare tire down here. So this is where I gotta get a little creative and whatnot and figure out how I'm gonna do this. But the plan is, I'm gonna cut this guy in half. I'm gonna take this side over here and move it over here to this wall. That way I have a nice rounded edge coming over here. Take this side, move it over to this wall, although I am going to have to cut it down a little bit because of the door. We need a little bit of room, and you can see this goes past the door here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down a little bit and make it a little bit shorter, and that's okay. I've already went over all that stuff with Lynn when I picked the trailer up, and we're going to get this all figured out and get it just how she wants it. And then these guys up here, the cabinets, these two cabinets, I'm going to remove those, and then we're going to put them together back here in the middle, and she'll have two little cabinets here in the middle between her two beds. So that's where we're going to start. So let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do in here is I'm going to go ahead and remove the hydraulic arms on both sides, and then I can go ahead and unscrew the hinges back there, and then I can get this guy out of my way. Alright, next I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the power loosened up and remove this over here over to this side. Kind of get the wires hanging down there so then I can slide out. After I unbolted and everything, I can slide out this U part here. Alright, I got the wiring loosened up here. I'll deal with this once I get the U part kind of a little more loose, and I'll be able to get in there and I'll either take it out from in there or I'll be able to see what's behind there to unhook it. But for right now, next step, what we're going to do is I need to get the water tank moved over a little bit because I can't reach the screws that are down there to get the unbolted U part. So what I'm going to do is I can get that one there and I can get this one. I'm going to loosen those two straps, and then I'm going to slide the water tank over a little bit. That'll allow me to get in there to remove the rest of the screws around here to get this guy out. So that's what we're going to do next. I also got can't see, it's too dark. It's hard to see, but there's a little vent down there. There's actually no vent going to it. It's just like maybe that was an option for some of these to have the heating duct in here. It comes to the outside, but there's nothing hooked up to it. But I got to remove that cover so I can get the rest of the screws out. All right, so I got the wiring out, but I just wanted to show you how they wire these. This came through the hole down there in the wood, and then these right here, these just go and they snap into place. They don't plug in like a normal house one. They just plug right in here. They snap straight down in there. So now that we've got all that removed, now I can go ahead and get this U part here and pull it back and kind of get it up out of the way. It's nice and light, so you don't have to worry about it being heavy or anything, so that's nice. Alright, so a couple things here. So what I have to do is I have to take this water tank and move it over here closer to the wall. Unfortunately, from the factory, they cut this hole so big that when I put the other half of this back over here, it's only going to come to here or something, so I'm going to have this hole showing. So what I'm going to have to do is remove the trim up here. I'm probably going to cut this paneling, remove this stuff, take this little section out, loosen that whole paneling, and then slide that whole paneling down this way, so that way the center is nice and smooth, and it doesn't have a big hole in it. And then I'll take this piece and put it back behind there, which will be fine because the bed will be in front of it, which will cover it and all that stuff. So a couple different steps you can do. I also have to take this trim off so I can split this U thing apart, and I think I'm going to do that next just to get this a little smaller in here so it's not in my way as much. So I think right now I'm going to go ahead and pop the trim off and figure out cutting this in half. For this here, I'm just going to go ahead and use a little flathead screwdriver, pry it up a little bit, nice and easy. There we go. Now I have a seam where I have two different pieces of paneling, which will make it easier there. Next, what I'm going to do is right here in the center where the two panels come together, I'm going to use the vibrator saw and I'm going to cut this 1x2 straight down so I can get these guys apart here. A little smoky, but it works great. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side here. Now I'm going to see if I can loosen the paneling just a little bit, but being careful with it. Screw in there, nail. One staple. One staple. These trims come off real easy. You could use a flat bar or something. A flathead screwdriver though works great for it. Now that I got all the little trims off around on both sides, I'm going to go ahead and loosen and take off the USB plugs that are right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop off this panel that goes all the way across, cut it right here, pull this piece out, and then take the whole thing and slide it down. Now this is just 12 volt, but I'm gonna go ahead and tape these guys up as well, so I don't have to worry about them. You can kind of see where the nails are in here if you pull a little bit. And these, you just need to go just a little bit and they pop right off. Don't like how they did this from the factory, but they did, so it is what it is. There we go. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that. So now I'll go ahead and cut this piece right up through here with the vibrator saw, and I'll be able to move this down. Well, now that we got that done, now I can go ahead and work on this over here, undoing the lines and hoses, moving the water tank back over, resecuring it, rehooking up the lines and all that stuff, and then continue on. Now we do have a little bit of work to do in here. I just connected the fill tube, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove this, cut this zip tie right here. The fill tube's just gonna end up coming out through this area over here. The power is just fine because there's still an outlet that will be on this outside over here. So that's perfect. This is easy. This hose, the vent is easy. And I might actually take some of that vent hose off because if you see down here, this one's okay too, but this little short guy, which goes into the system right here, this guy is tight. So I'm gonna have to loosen this guy up. Actually, first I'm gonna have to go outside and get the drain this because the tank does have a couple inches of water in it. So I'm gonna drain it, then I'm gonna pull this line off, shift everything over to the wall, and then figure out if I have enough hose by trimming this one down because I don't need it that long once I move it over, or I may have to go to the store and buy another one here. So let's go get the tank drained first and then go from there. All right, and unfortunately hers doesn't have a valve. It's just got a plug. So take that plug, let her drain, and then I'll come back later and plug it back up. All right, so after I got the tank drained and everything, I went ahead and removed the filler hose here off of here. And then what you have to do though, it's just a little bit of work. You got to go ahead and cut these crimps on here for the water line. Got that guy there, and then the hardest one is this little guy down here that goes on right here. You got to cut that and get that out of the way. And then you'll be able to go ahead and get the tank and move it over here. And then the tank's going to be somewhat in that position. All right, well, I just kind of set them in place so you can see the idea that I'm going with here. Again, this side's going to be cut shorter so it's moved forward so it's not into the door there. Those cabinets up front here, both of those, I'm going to take this one and flip it around, put it on this side. This one's going to go over on that side and they'll be right there in the middle. And then the beds will go each up on each side right there. All right, well, that's going to do it for part 1 of this bed conversion video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and keep an eye out for part 2. We'll see you soon.